Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not Now, Mom. I'm gaming. My name is Kay, and on this episode, we'll be talking about the game What If Your Girl Was a Frog? Which is a fascinating question to ask someone. I honestly don't know what I'd think if that were the case. Maybe you'd just have to kiss her and see if she'd change back. You're even into kissing a frog, that is. There is a hidden object game I play that revolves around a guy being turned into a frog and a witch trying to smooch him, if I remember correctly. And also, this isn't even the weirdest thing a girl could be. Kokono Kokoro is a game where the girl is a grasshopper. Pick your poison, frog or grasshopper. Maybe frog for me, but I'd rather have neither options. Anyway, this game is from the devs Honey Bunny, who also created a game we've already reviewed called Date with Fox Girl. In fact, they made a lot of games like these ones, so prepare yourself for even more in the future. I know. They're not that bad, but a lot of them don't really go beyond the mostly positive rating. Though this one actually has a very positive rating. I'm going to base this rating on one specific thing, and that's the fact that it doesn't actually have a written storyline, meaning no crappy text to read through. That's just my thoughts on the matter, though. The blurb for What If Your Girl Was a Frog states this. There was a frog. She was cheerfully croaking on her lake. However, she was not a simple frog, but magic. And so she got a lonely boy. She used her magic and started her adventures. I'm not really sure what it means by got a lonely boy, but kidnapping is frowned upon. Before we start with the review, we're going to do the thing. Let the opening scene play out before us like every other game by this dev does. It won't explain the story at all, but you'll get some of the images before you actually piece them together. Which is actually a poor choice on their part, because now you know what some of the scenes are going to be without playing the game. Oh well. That guy looked a little scared during that preview, right? It's not just me. Technically, there's no title screen you land on when you're allowed to interact with the game, even though the title came up right before this part, and so I technically dock a star just for that. I feel like unless the game is well known and iconic, such as with Final Fantasy VII Remake not having its title, but rather the Buster Sword, you need a title for people to remember, even if it's just going back to the start of the game. Instead, we have a pop-up where you can full screen, or not, adjust the volume and adjust music. Honestly, I don't really get either of these, and there's nothing to tell you what means what, so you'll have to figure it out on your own. Very positive reviews, remember? At least it's got a cute pixel frog sitting on top of the pop-up window. When you're done with that, the main screen will have strips of images of what you'll be piecing together when you're on that puzzle screen. Note that there's only 5 scenes you're able to do in the base game. Further to the right, where the frog is where the DLC puzzles begin, and we're not going to talk about those for YouTube purposes. If you go into the gallery at the start, you can see a more transparent view of the images you'll be seeing, but the only one that's unlocked is the first. Which isn't actually a puzzle at all, but the opening scene, so you kind of understand the storyline of what's going on. Also, I'm pretty sure all of Honey Bunny games do this, but there's a transition that comes along when going from one part of the game to another, like the main screen to the gallery and back again. But it's 2 slats that come from the top and bottom and meet up in the middle to create an image of a frog with a strawberry on its head. And the part that separates these 2 halves is the frog's mouth, which I think is cool. When it parts, the mouth opens. If you're wondering about the strawberry, it's because the guy in the game sleeps in a bed with a cover that has strawberries all over it. When we start the game, we get the introduction scene that sets up the puzzles, sorta. There's no words and no text, so you just have to watch it play out. And for anyone just listening and not watching, I'll do a little explanation. A frog is sleeping, a lone man is walking in the rain. The frog, using a leaf as an umbrella, watches him. He's sitting in the rain, looking bored. The frog is sadly curious about him. Gets an amazing idea and jumps into his backpack. The man enters their home, takes off his shoes. The frog hops out of the backpack while he's distracted. The man falls asleep in bed. The frog wonders why he's sleeping and gets another amazing idea. It becomes a wizard and casts a spell on itself to turn into a girl. And here's the first scene you're going to puzzle together. A girl in a frog onesie standing in this guy's bedroom while he's asleep. I was actually afraid this was going to be one of those puzzles where you had to flip pieces of the one beside it, but that's not the case. You can just move one piece to wherever you want it to go. And these puzzle pieces are hexagonal just to make them a bit different from all the other puzzle games out there. You'll notice that the background has movement to it, but it's not so difficult in this scene to piece it together. Or really in any of the upcoming scenes for the base game either, so I probably won't comment on them as they come up. Just know they're the start to every scene. The guy in this one isn't so bad, though you can still see the lackluster quality of him since our main focus is on the female frog girl. And she's not even a frog. She's just wearing a frog suit. So technically, we still don't know what it would be like if our girl was a frog. Because by the looks of her, I'm pretty sure if you take that onesie off, she's all human. And this is proven from the DLC scenes. So the title of the game doesn't make all that much sense. As far as the scene here goes, I don't know if she made it happen or if this guy likes both strawberries and frogs, but on the computer screen there's a frog hopping up and down. The girl herself looks a little shocked that her magic worked in turning her into a human. And the guy? This poor guy is sleeping soundly, hugging one of his pillows underneath strawberry sheets. He's in for a surprise. I mean, like, really, he's in for a surprise. And maybe a heart attack. Because in the next puzzle scene, she's sitting on top of him and kind of petting his hair like she's fascinated by it. He's got that wide-eyed, freaked-out look, and for good reason. He probably doesn't have a roommate, and now suddenly he does. The next scene is a little sad and laughable because all we have is our frogsy lady sitting on her heels on the bed, making a peace sign with no man in sight. He booked it. He amscrayed as fast as he could. And she doesn't even realize and raised a peace sign as he peaced out. Also, further proof that she's not a frog is she's sticking her human tongue out of her mouth, while also making cooing sounds like a baby, and clicking her tongue. But it's the cooing that causes me a bit of distress. The following scene is a bit more disconcerting. She's licking the window because there's a monarch butterfly on the outside of it. Like, okay, she's trying to act like she's more frog than human by wanting to eat the butterfly, but I still don't buy it, and you shouldn't either. At least she's drawn a little heart in the moisture of the window, but I don't recommend anyone ever lick a window. Especially if you live somewhere close to the street where anyone can see you doing it. Moving forward, she's now in the shower, still in her onesie, but trying to squeeze the water out of her outfit, while still getting soaked with water. She has been in the rain before, right? I'm starting to question her sanity at this point. It was eyebrow raising while she licked the window. But now I feel this is a confirmation that there might be something not quite right up there. Also, why on earth is there a Game Boy Advance sitting on the sink? Don't bring that in the water with you, you fool. I do wonder what game they were playing. It's a mystery we'll never figure out because this is the end of all the scenes for the base game. The rest of the scenes are represented by downloading the Not Safe for Work DLC, and we'll continue that in the patrons section. And that's the end of it. I won't say it's a horrible game. The art's okay, and became honestly a bit better in the DLC portion, but maybe because that's where they would want to focus with a game like this. The base game was just to prove something of a storyline, despite the fact that even that could have been better given the title of the game and lack of an actual frog girl. Plus, the dude ran off after the second scene of the base game and suddenly returns in the second scene of the DLC. Was it just because he liked what he saw in the first scene and figured hell with it? How often is he going to come across a girl like this? My guy just needs to play some Kokono Kokoro. He'd get a better looking grasshopper girl. Just don't reject her. If you know, you know. But I've blathered on long enough, and I'm curious to know your all's thoughts on the frog girl. Would you mind her showing up out of nowhere while you're snoozing? Or is that a hard no? Smash or pass? Whatever your answer is, make sure mom doesn't see it. And before she takes a look at your answer, quickly hide the screen with your body and say, "Not now, mom. I'm gaming."